Welcome everyone on our 103rd episode under Transliterature series. And today's episode is very special. It is with none other than Amiganatra. She's an IIMA alumni, business strategist and consultant, and above all, the best-selling author of a favorite book of mine, Ramayana Unravelled. And it has been a hit all throughout. And she's just out with her second book, Ramayana Unravelled, which is as riveting and as engrossing as possible. So this is all about lesser known facets of Rishi Valmiki's epic. It has been published by Bloomsbury, India. And as Emmy says, no epic has moved the consciousness of millions like the Ramayana. And I'm Neeta Aneja, and I'm the host for the evening today. And during the session today, I must announce that we have a quiz coming up. I'll be asking you 2 questions. Be attentive throughout. And the best 2 answers will win this fantastic book, but the fastest finger first, right? So welcome, Emmy. Such a pleasure to host you on our 103rd episode. And you were there with us in our 59th as well.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Neeta ji. I'm very happy to be back here. We had a great conversation last time. I love the questions you asked. I love the interactions after the talk that happened. And yeah, looking forward to catching up and chatting with all of you again. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Such a privilege for all of us to be here with you today. You know, Amy, you say that studying Valmiki's Ramayana has been an emotionally enriching journey for you. Please explain that. And as to also why you chose to discuss Valmiki's Ramayana over Tulsidas's Ramcharitmanas.
So, as you mentioned, and as I've also written, right, Ramayana has been at the center of our lives throughout. We keep hearing about it. We keep talking about it. We've heard stories always. And, you know, ऐसा हो सकता है कि महाभारत लोगों को थोड़ा बहुत ना पता हो, you know, but there is pretty much no one who will not know Ramayana. It's a part of consciousness, so to say. More often than not, what we know of Ramayana is the Ramcharitmanas. And of course, Ramcharitmanas is a beautiful book full of bhav, full of bhakti bhav, more than anything else. और जब मानस का जो जब ये पढ़ा जाता है तब अश्रु लोगों की आंखों से आ जाते हैं. That is what happens, right? You're moved emotionally. However, there is also this idea which is there and which was in my mind as well, right? It was always like, oh, it's easy, especially for this generation. It's like it's easy to connect to Krishna because he's so cool, right? He does what needs to be done and the way it needs to be done. But however, he is not so stubborn that he will give up everything, you know, lose everything just for the heck of some principle, which maybe today's age is not even valid. Yeah, this is what we generally think. However, Ram is what we call him Maryada Purushottam, and this comes through ages, right? Ram is called the Maryada Purushottam, and sometimes it almost feels as if the way the stories are told that, oh my God, he almost borders on rigidity and stubbornness sometimes. And this is the idea which people have. And it's interesting because lot of times when I talk to youngsters about the itihas, this came up. This always came up that, you know, it's हम Ramcharitmanas पढ़ते हैं, but it's not, I can't connect to Ram. He doesn't feel like our own. Like Krishna is mine, but I don't feel that way for Ram. Shiva, I feel like that. And when we started our study of Ramayana, I think I was not sure where I stood in this whole thing. Yeah, I was also more like, ठीक है, मानते हैं. Krishna, of course, is a lot more relatable. And then when we started the study of Ramayana, it was, how do I say, the whole experience of knowing Sri Ram and his life was enriching. So in the sense that, you know, when we think of Krishna, he is this playful person. But we don't think of Krishna as overly effusive, showing emotions. He is more of this balanced person, always smiling, yeah? In front of Krishna, you're like, हाँ, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. He's always smiling. Even when his entire family, his kutumba, got they destroyed each other, the Yadavas, right? In Dwarka, he's still Yogastha. Of course, he's sad and all that, but he's still Yogastha. He goes and sits in meditation. And we find him relatable even then. And here is Ram, who is so effusive in his love for Sita. He is so effusive in showing his pain when Sita is away. Yeah? So Ram, in a lot of ways, felt like us. He went through the entire range of emotions that any of us go through. And in spite of all the emotions which he went through, he felt as deeply as, and maybe more than any one of us. When he needed to act, he acted without being overpowered by the pull of emotions. So that this whole aspect of Ram, which at least to me, I didn't know of. Yeah, I didn't know he was like this. Also, things which we are told that he is an ideal son. He's an ideal son because his father and stepmother said, go to jungle, go to vanvas. And he's like, fine, I go to vanvas. Yeah. Or bol diya hai, kar dena hai. Now, that is not relatable because if one of us is told something like this, we will not be able to take it, right? We will be hurt. So, was this person such that who was just not hurt? It feels unreal. But that is not true. That is not true. There is a reason he accepted vanvas. Listening to mother and father was definitely one of the things, yeah. But that was not the only thing. There was a profound thinking behind why he did what he did. And even afterwards, there are times when that pain, that somewhere, whatever was done to me was actually not right. I accepted it, but it was not right from the part of who did it. It comes out. His emotion also comes out. And there is a adjective used for him, Purushantara Kovida, one who understood human beings, one who understood their positives and negatives. So if he understood the positives and negatives of everybody else, would he not understand the positive and negative of his own parents? He did. He did. And in spite of that, he did what needed to be done, not out of any stubborn rigidity, but out of profound wisdom. And when these tidbits started unraveling about him, even more nearer and dearer to me as my journey through Valmiki Ramayana study. And that's why I write that. It was an emotionally enriching experience for me.
Absolutely. And it's such a wonderful book. And lately I've been recommending it to so many people. You've narrated it in such a wonderful, typically you style, the way you speak, the way you write. That's how it is with you. One thing which has always been, wondering and surprising me is that you are now a best-selling author, corporate leader, yoga practitioner, a student of Sanskrit and Indian knowledge systems, apart from being an avid traveler. But where did you get time to do such an extensive research and then writing this book, Ramayana Unravelled? And perhaps you could talk about the research part of it. How much time did it take? Everything that you would like us to know the process.
I think it helps that I'm single, and I don't have any familial responsibilities, so to say. Otherwise, it would be very, very difficult, right? So that is definitely something that has helped me on this path. It's given me time to study and all that. And the study has been happening for a while, especially the Sanskrit. I don't claim any expertise, so to say, but at least that journey had started at least 6-7 years ago. And Mahabharata, as I said, I started reading it 2017, 2018, although the book happened much later. The writing was not a plan. It was, as I always say, it's more an accident. It's more like Devanugraha, that it just happened. For Ramayana, so after finishing the manuscript of Mahabharata, in fact, even before I had finished, we had started studying it. So we have a study group where we read the texts and discuss them, analyze them and stuff like that. So it was already started. It went on for over a year. We studied every weekend we would have. And then it was, of course, separately my Swadhyaya as well beyond that. So the studying itself was over a year. But what had helped is, even before that, I was listening Ramayana. So there is I would recommend this channel, Practical Vedanta IIMB, of who I call my virtual guru, Professor B. Mahadevan, who's a professor at IIM Bangalore, and he has these amazing sessions on Ramayana, Gita, everything that I'm doing is somewhere coming from him. So I was reading it. So the drishti was already changing as I had heard some of the lectures. So when the actual study started happening, I think it was quicker in sense of assimilating. And then I was on a long sabbatical. So when I was writing Mahabharata, I was also on a sabbatical. And when I began writing Ramayana, that was also on a sabbatical. So I finished almost 70% of the manuscript before I started working again. So it took me 4 months to get to 70% and another 3 months to then finally finish it because the work had started. So it took about a 6-7 month process writing. But then when I do write, like in a sabbatical, it's like proper work day. I'll start 8:39 and go on for like 10, 12 hours as needed. Because you get lost in it anyways when you're then studying and writing.
So very right. It does show the kind of hard work that you've put in, the kind of narrative that you've brought about, the kind of answers that you found for us, which we didn't know about. One of the questions which your book answers is also that what lessons from Lord Ram's growing up years shaped Ram's values as a king. So would you like to talk about it?
Absolutely. So I'll first explain a little bit of difference between what was in Mahabharata and Ramayana, just to give the context of the things that I'm going to say. In Mahabharata, there was a lot of debunking of myths. Yeah, there is a bit of that in Ramayana Unravelled. However, in Ramayana, because Ramayana is a smaller text and most of the stories are known, there is not so much debunking. Even the myths that are prevalent are not the kinds who change a narrative, so to say, more often than not. There are some, but more often than not, that's not the case. However, every incident itself, which we know as a story, has a profound depth to it, which is rarely spoken of. Yeah, like one, as I said, the vanvas of Sri Ram, which we will come to. But the question that you asked on the early years of Sri Ramji. So this is when he's like 14, 15 years old. And Rishi Vishwamitra comes to Raja Dashrath and tells him that I am doing a yagna and there are 2 rakshasas who are disrupting my yagna, on and on. Now, if I pick up weapons to protect myself, my yagna will not work. So I can't do that. Hence, I need your sons. So first, Dashrath is like, why do you need my sons? Right? I'll send my army with you. But he's like, no, I need your sons. Then Dashrath asks, who are these guys that you're fighting with? And Vishwamitra explains, Marish and Subahu, who are also Rakshasas, who are somewhere connected to Ravan as well. And Dashrath freaks out. Raja Dashrath freaks out. He's like, my son is not even 16. He's just about turning 16. I cannot fight both of them together. And you want my son, such a young son, to fight those 2 Rakshas who are like brutal. This is not going to happen. But Vishwamitra is like, okay, fine. If you don't want to do it, your wish. But you promise that you will fulfill my wish. But so you don't want to do it, doesn't matter. Then Rishi Vashishtha, he tells Dashrath that it is not as if Vishwamitra cannot protect himself. But you send Ram and Lakshman with him, it will be good for them. So eventually Dashrath agrees, hesitatingly agrees. And then when they go, now these 2 are princes, right? They could have very well taken a chariot to Siddhashram, which was like all the way going from Ayodhya, like present day Ayodhya, to some place in Bihar. Yeah, that is how far it was. The Buxar area around that side somewhere, Buxar, Chhattisgarh, but somewhere around that area. So they actually walk that entire stretch because they are now with Vishwamitra. They are disciples of Vishwamitra. So all the princely luxuries have now gone away. They have to live like the Shishyas of Vishwamitra. And throughout, there are stories narrated by Vishwamitra to the princes and all of that. Now, eventually they reach a place which is Tadka Van. So there is a huge, dense forest which they come to. And there is no life in this forest. It looks extremely dangerous. And Sri Ram wants to know why is this place like this and what is happening there. And Vishwamitra tells him, this is Tadka Van. This used to be the place here. Actually, there were 2 very bustling cities. But this Rakshasi Tadka, for some reason, just destroyed them. And today, this has become literally nobody can live here anymore because the destruction is complete and nobody can even pass by here. It has become such a dangerous place. So this Tadka, she has no dharma. She is very unrighteous. And now that she needs to be killed. So, hey Ram, you kill her. Okay. Now Sri Ram is very worried. He's like, how can I kill her? She's a woman, right? And all our shastras, Stri is called Aganya. Stri and Gau is called Aganya. Aganya is one you cannot kill, whatever be the issue, whatever be the situation. So Sri Ram is like, but I can't kill her because she's a woman. How do I kill a woman? That is a pap. How do I do that pap? And Vishwamitra tells him something very important. Vishwamitra tells him that you are a Raja. You are the son of a Raja, going to be a Raja. For a Raja, there is nothing more important than Praja Rakshan. Taking care, so protection and welfare of your kingdom, of your Samaj, of your community, not community, but your kingdom, the people in the kingdom, is your utmost priority. And for that protection, whatever you have to do, and when he says whatever he says, Nrishasam va, Patakam va, Sadosham va, whether it is cruel or not cruel, whether it is pap, whether you will get pap for doing it, or it is very nice act, doesn't matter. If your praja is involved, for the protection of your praja, you must do all that you have to do. This is the dharma of the one who is assigned to be the king. Now, at that time, a king was somebody who was considered a devta. His word was considered a law. So clearly, the onus on the king to ensure that he lives for the people becomes multifold important, right? So clearly, this was the first lesson Sri Ramji learned, that whatever be the situation, you don't have to think about, "Arey, books mein kya likha hai?" Yeah, "Arey, shastra kya kehte hain?" If it is important for your praja, you must do it. Yeah, so the first thing, the whole stubbornness, the rigidity falls flat off here, right? Because the point is dharma sanstapana, which is true for Krishna as well. Here, dharma sanstapana is with regards to your kingdom. Praja rakshan, taking care, welfare and protection of your praja. That is the most important, and do whatever you must for it. So this is the lesson he learns, and this one thing Sri Ram carries throughout his life. And all actions that he does have to be seen from this perspective.
So very right. So very right. And Jai Shri Ram, I must say, no, there cannot be anybody like him. You know, as long as the mountains stand and rivers flow on earth, the story of Rama, as you say, will flourish in the world. But why do you think this is true? I know you've just mentioned. But did you really discover something else about Lord Ram when you were writing this? Anything that you didn't know about, which really caught you by surprise?
Lots, and this is my favorite part, and hence I'll probably say it even without you having asked me directly. The whole story of vanvas, right? So yes. The personality of Ram comes out in the various decisions that he's taken. Yeah, we tend to judge everything as right, wrong, good, bad, but there is so much thinking that has gone behind all of that, and all of this is actually brought out by Rishi Valmiki. So that's the beauty of Ramayana and the eminence, the greatness of Rishi Valmiki on how he brings out these nuances. Yeah, and it is throughout. There are lots of incidents related to Hanumanji, Sitaji, Sri Ramji, all of them. But this one aspect of the vanvas, which I would like to take time and talk about. So, as I said, there was in the vanvas that we know that Kaikeyi forced Dashrath to send Sri Ramji to Aranya. Ramasya Aranya Gavana Bharatasya Abhishechanam. Crown Bharat the king and send Ram to vanvas. This is literally the night before the coronation has to happen.
Yes.
तो ऐसा है कि बस मुकुट पहनना है और मुकुट चला गया हाथ से. इस ऐसी स्थिति है, ऐसी विकट परिस्थिति है कि निवाला मुंह तक आकर छीन गया. Now, in that situation, Ram is still composed. Sri Ramji doesn't react. He says, "Fine, if I'm told, I will do it." Lakshman is very angry. He's like, "How do you do this, right? What have we been told?" Again, going back to that learning lesson.
Yes, hi. I think you've frozen. Amy, you'll come back. Your Wi-Fi is a little unstable right now. Amy, would like to join back?
Yeah, I'll come back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're fine. Yes.
So, Vishwamitraji had told them that you must do whatever you must do for Praja Rakshan. So, Lakshman, he doesn't quote Vishwamitra, but he says, your coronation has not been a singular decision. Although our father wanted it, everybody, the consensus has come from Praja. And that is also a very interesting incident. So, Dashrath, when he decides that he wants to crown Ram as the crown prince, like the heir after him, he actually calls his entire group of ministers and the who's and who of the kingdom, of his citizens, and he tells them that this is my idea. Now, what are you going to say about it? Like, what do you think of Ram becoming my successor? And everybody's like, yeah, Ram should become a successor. And Dashrath says, no. Just because I am saying so, you don't have to agree with me. You tell me the reason for making Ram the successor. Only if you are fully convinced will I take that decision. So everybody, they come out and they actually narrate the qualities of Ram that they have seen in Ram in action. Yeah, so all his qualities. It's very interesting. On one end, he's as cool as Himavan. He's as cool as the Himalayas. But when he's angry, even gods fear him. Yeah. So now that's the other thing. Generally, what we are told is that, oh, no, Ram never gets angry. He's always composed. No. When he's angry, there is an episode where he basically, when Sita is taken, he's like, I will destroy this whole Sacharachar, this whole nature I will destroy if I don't find Sita. Yeah? So that anger also comes at times. But anyways, coming back to that evil. So Lakshman says, if our father is wrong, then the father should also be punished. That is what is the rule of the king, right? Whatever happens, whoever is the guilty must be punished. Whatever a father has done here is under the influence of karma. Under the influence of karma, because he's completely indulged into our stepmother. So he's done wrong. So badhyatam va. Either we tie him and put him in prison or we kill him. This is what we must do. And Ram is like, no, you chill. This is really not that situation. And he explains to him why he agreed to go on vanvas. So one is, of course, he's like, father has told us and we must listen to him. He's not just our father, he's also the king. So listening to the king is important, one. Second, maybe if I don't go, he will be happy because he really doesn't want me to go. He's doing this under compulsion. But I know that he will think that the promise he made to Kaikeyi is now falsified. So that will never give him peace. And I don't want to be the reason for his unhappiness. But he says there is one aspect even more important. And this aspect is something we all need to learn in our own lives. He says, I was in a situation where I was going to be crowned the king, like in a couple of hours from now.
Sorry.
And suddenly it has gone away from me. Now, this was completely unplanned. This was completely unexpected. And why was it unexpected? Because has Kaikeyi ever behaved like this before? He says never. Kaikeyi till date has never ever discriminated between Bharat and me. I, on my end, have never ever disrespected her or even seen her separately from my own mother Kaushalya. Right? For me, I have always treated all the three mothers as the same, and she has reciprocated it. So for her buddhi to behave this way, where she wants to cause pain to me, is unbelievable. It couldn't have happened just like that. Clearly, there is an aspect of destiny which is playing a part here.
Imagine.
And sometimes this destiny, we will know what is in store for us when we accept it and we flow with it. Who knows what is in store? There are situations where you cannot fight destiny. There is no point fighting destiny. And this is that situation where one can't make sense of, there is no rationale to the things, to the way the things have happened. So what has inspired Kaikeyi's buddhi is probably that Daivat. And this is not the time to fight for it. So maybe the best thing at this point is to accept where we are and see how things play out in life. Yeah. So when things are completely out of control, instead of trying to control and hold on to it, Ram is saying, let go. Let go and let life happen to you. Yeah.
Imagine.
Such
Beautifully
a
explained.
beautiful point. I mean, such deep wisdom, right? Such deep wisdom. Now, people might say, Arey, but he's being fatalistic. How do you give in to destiny? Would you always give in to destiny? No, that's the whole point. When the situation is such that there is really nothing more you can do, or you cannot even explain that, only that situation. Otherwise, when Sita is kidnapped, he doesn't sit back and say, oh, no, destiny, let it happen. No. Then he realizes he needs to do his purushartha. He has not done all that he could. So till that is done, till you put in all your efforts, you can't throw away your arms and say, no, let destiny take over. And that is what he's explaining here, that I have done nothing to deserve what has come. And hence, this is the situation where I will not fight the destiny and go with the flow.
Fantastically explained. Such a deep insight into this. I'm sure everyone present here and who sees this conversation later will really benefit. One aspect that I would really like you to talk about is definitely the relationship between Ram and Sita. There have been times when people have said, and I've heard you talking about it, that they maybe think that maybe Ramayana to some extent is inherently misogynist, or maybe quite opposite, keeping in mind the characters of Sita, characters of Kaikeyi, Shurpanakha, vis-a-vis. So what do you have to say about that?
So, the reading of Itihas tells us, or rather the way to read Itihas, or for that matter, anything, is to never stop questioning. Yeah, of course, question the text. We are very happy to question the text and Ram and Krishna and all of them. But we never question the narrative that comes to us, right? When we say something is misogynist, yeah, if there is how do we arrive at that conclusion? There has to be a pattern to it. There have to be multiple examples to prove that women are being oppressed, right? If there is just one incident which comes across like this and nothing else throughout there, then clearly that label is misplaced. Then there is something wrong in our own understanding of that situation. This is how I see things, right? So we must ask, first of all, that, okay, if we think that Ram or anybody or the text is inherently misogynist, how are the women treated? Are all the women treated badly? Now let's start with that before I get into even the relationship of Ram and Sita. Kaikeyi demands that Ram be sent to the jungle. Even Dashrath, who's called a Chakravarti Raja, can do nothing before that. Are we talking about an oppressed woman here?
Not at all.
Not at all. So Ram's life, the shaping of his life begins there. One. Second, he's going to vanvas. He's not going on a picnic, right? So clearly there are dangers to live in a forest. Eventually we see that happening out with Ravan kidnapping Sita. So Ram initially, when he tells Sita that I'm going, he tells her that you stay here and I will go. You do whatever role you have to fulfill as a daughter-in-law, all of that, I will go. And Sita is livid. She has no problem that Ram is going on vanvas. She doesn't mind that decision at all because their love is such, yeah. Their love is such that she's not bothered about where Ram is. Her point is, I have to be with Ram and Ram has to be with me. That's it, nothing else. So she's like, how do you even talk about going away from me alone? Yeah. If you go to vanvas, I go to vanvas. It's that simple as that. And Ram tries to explain to her that no, look, we are talking about a jungle here. Life is not going to be easy. Yeah, you've grown up in luxury. There you will have. We don't even know if we'll have food. There are going to be these dangerous animals. We have to keep walking. It's not an easy life. And she's like, no, nothing said it, nothing doing. I'm coming with you. So Ram again tries to convince her that, it's a difficult life. Understand? Yeah, you really can't take that. And it's going to be dangerous. And at that time, Sita says, I did not know that, maybe my father did not know that he was marrying his daughter to a lady who acted in the form of a purush. This is what she says. You say you will protect everybody. You are known to be that Shurveer. You will protect everybody and you can't protect me. This is what she says. Yeah.
I know.
And
I read that.
She breaks down after that and she's like, no, nothing doing. I'm coming with you. And the situation, the scene after that is so loving. So Ram just holds her tight. He, hugs her. He's like, no, you don't worry. Without you, I don't even want the Swarga. Tvaya vina Swarga abhiroche. I don't even want I wouldn't even like the Swarga without you. However, this decision of living in the jungle, I cannot impose on you. So without knowing your mantavya, I couldn't have forced you into this life. But now that I know your mantavya, nothing can stop you from coming with me, and I can protect you in every situation. So you will come with me now. But I couldn't have imposed it on you. This is that man who is like, I cannot impose my wish on you. We are saying to the anyway. So again, the second decision, which is Sita's, to go with Ram. Yeah. Third situation. When that deer situation happens, right? When she sees the multicolored, multi-hued deer, and she's like, I want this deer. Lakshman is like, this cannot be. There is never a deer like this. So this is clearly an illusion. There's something going on here which we don't understand. Maybe this is a Rakshas. We should just ignore. But Sita is very, very happy. She's like, no, nothing doing. I want that. I'll keep it as a pet. So if you bring it alive, I'll keep it as a pet and we'll take it back to Ayodhya. Because this is already the 13th year of vanvas. They have only one more year to do. And she's like, but if you cannot catch him live, doesn't matter. I'll use this skin and you and I. So she tells Ram that you and I will sit on it. This is a beautiful mat for us. And Ram sees her face. Like she's glowing, yeah, because she's loved that deer. And Ram is like, no. Whatever, even if it is a Rakshas, I should protect everybody from the Rakshas. So I will go for sure, and just look at her face. Just look at the glow on her face. How can I not do what she wants? Yeah, This is Ram. And he goes, and we know what happens. Acha, now even after that, just the personality of Sita. Yeah. So of course, she is a woman who takes her calls, makes herself heard. Right? She is not a dabi hui nari, abala nari who has are bapre kya kare kya nahi. No. She, whenever she wants her way, she gets her way. She voices her opinion. Of course, she's an excellent wife, excellent daughter-in-law. She does the kartavyas that she has to do. That is one side of things, right? But which is expected. Everybody is following their kartavya. Then when this Marich who imitates Ram, right, to take voice, to call Sita and Lakshman. Yeah. At that time, Lakshman again tells Sita that this cannot be Ram because there is no chance Ram can be overpowered like this. So it can't be him. And the words she tells him, she tells him, no, I know why you're not going. You want your brother out of the way because you're eyeing me. This is the reason you're not going. Of course, she's very upset. She's very stressed. She's very anxious. And she wants Lakshman to go, whatever be the situation. Yeah. And eventually, Lakshman, who's otherwise heard a lot of what she said, he reaches a situation where she's like, you just stop. It feels like you're pouring molten iron in my ears. Yeah. I can't take it anymore. I'm going. Let the forest devatas protect you.
Protect you. So right.
And then he goes, yeah. Now, because he leaves on Sita's insistence, Ravan is able to kidnap her, right? Again, the situation created. So again, this is not a misogynist. This is not a situation where this is dabi hui lady at all. The whole Shurpanakha thing, right? Shurpanakha again is like, my wish is not fulfilled. I want to marry this guy, Ram. First, he told me to go marry Lakshman. Lakshman is not marrying me because now he's pushing me away to Ram. And both of them are avoiding me. Why? Because she in her mind thinks it's because of this lady.
Who's not even good looking, she says.
She says, who's so ugly? Not even good looking. So for her, they are trying to, they are not coming to me. So I will kill her. And she attacks Sita. Now, so Ram saves Sita, and that time he tells Lakshman that no, this is not done. She needs to be punished. So cut her nose and ears. Yeah. Now to take revenge, first Shurpanakha calls Kharadushan, her cousins, and 14,000 Rakshasas they attack, and Ram single-handedly kills all of them. Then she goes to Ravan, lies. She lies to him that I was trying to get Sita for you because she's like a money. She's like a gem. Anybody who gets her hug, her alingan is like Devta. So I was going to get her for you. And she describes her because she knows that Ravan has a weakness for women. He's very, very calming. Yeah. Again, a lot of we have this thing floating around saying that, oh, bhai ho to Ravan jaisa. Yeah. उसने बहन के लिए क्या किया? नहीं, उसने बहन के लिए नहीं किया. उनकी बहन ने भी झूठ बोला because she knew कि what will make Ravan act. And it was this instigating him, provoking him, provoking his sexual instincts. And then he was like, no, now I have to get Sita. If she's so beautiful, I have to get her. And he goes and acts. So again, this is the lady who's like, whatever be the situation, I wanted them, I don't get them, revenge has to happen. Even if it means I need to lie to my brother for it, right? So this is another Stree Patra. We hear about Tara again. So Tara is another very, very strong character again. So none of these people are really misogynist. If there is anybody who is misogynist, it is Ravan. The way he keeps all the women around him, the way he violates them without their permission, the way he enslaves them, the way he captures them. So if there is anybody who is misogynist, is Ravan. And unfortunately, the narrative around is, "Arey re, bhai ho to Ravan jaisa." And, Ravan waited for consent and all that. No, he doesn't wait for consent because he cares for consent. No, he waits for consent because he's afraid. There are lots of shraps on him, curses on him, that if he violates another woman against her wishes, he will die or his head will split. And that has come from Brahmadev himself, from whom he got the boon. Hence, he's not forcing himself on Sita, not out of any consent. So the whole blame of misogyny is quite misplaced. That's my view on this. There might be situations which we will come to, the Agni Pariksha and stuff, which people are uncomfortable with. We'll try to understand them. But again, the point is, if that one situation is making us dismiss the entire text as misogynist, there is something wrong in the way we see things rather than the text itself. So that is one. The question you asked me was on Sita Ram's relationship, and I went all the way on the other side. But maybe can I continue on that?
Yes, please.
So interestingly, there is no Swayamvar in Valmiki Ramayana. In Valmiki Ramayana, Sri Ram, out of curiosity, because he's a Kshatriya, he picks up the Dhanush, and the Dhanush breaks, Shiva's Dhanush. And Janak has this thing that whoever picks up and strings the Dhanush, he will marry Sita. So he's like, oh, now you've done this, so I will marry Sita. Let's call Dashrath and all that. And directly Ram and Sita meet in the mandap. Okay, so Tulsi Ramayana, Kamba Ramayana, they have this whole love affair, love at first sight, which is not there in Valmiki Ramayana. However, the love does happen. And the love happens once they reach Ayodhya. And there is a description towards the end of Balakanda, how that love keeps on growing. Like how Sita is forever in Ram's heart. And how Sita cannot live without Ram at all. And it says, हम जो कहते हैं ना अभी कि आंखों में आंखें डालकर, like आंखों से बातें करती है. So here, Valmiki says कि हृदयाकृति, they talk with their hearts. Even words are not needed. उनके हृदय एक दूसरे से बात करते हैं. That is the relationship that they share. And that is why when otherwise Sita should have been flustered कि अरे मेरे को जंगल भेज रहा है, she doesn't care about the jungle at all. What she cares is how can I be away from Ram? And come what may, if I have to be with Ram, if I will be with Ram, come whatever be the situation. And she goes. And then during the 13 years, on and off, we are shown how romantic that couple is. Yes. So about Sita, the description is like, so when Kaushalya asked Sumantra, the charioteer who had gone to drop them up to Shringverpur, that how is my Sita doing? And Sumantra is like, you don't even have to worry about her. For her, it's almost as if she's out to, she's traveling around. वैसे विचर रही है, विहार कर रही है. That, it's like she's traveling in some garden and Ram is actually pampering her. He shows her what are the different trees, what are the animals, what are the villages that come on the way. So she's very happy. She's not even complaining. And of course, Ram is happy that Sita is with her. And then once they reach Chitrakoot, it is shown that they bathe together thrice a day, eat fruits and all of that. And again, Ram says that in this situation, if with you and Lakshman with me, if I have to live like this all my life, I'm happy. I don't even care for Ayodhya. Again, he says that without you, I don't even want Swarga. With you, this is my Swarga. That is so that romance between them. And I'm not going into certain incidents. There are stories which are written in the book, how that love comes out and to what extent Ram goes when he sees that even Sita is even hurt a little bit, to what extent he can go. That there are some stories around that. But just the number of times he said that तुम्हारे बिना तो मुझे स्वर्ग भी नहीं चाहिए. Just imagine our partner saying that to us, right? Again and again and again. We'll be like the most happy people around. So that's how it is. And the pain he goes through when the viyog happens.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It moves us how he's shaken. He's shaken from within. And as I said, he reaches a stage where he's running around. He's calling the trees, he's calling the animals, he's calling the birds. He's like, have you seen my Sita? Please tell me, have you seen my Sita? And of course, nobody's going to talk, right? Because he's asking the mountains and the trees and the rivers. And he's so flustered that, as I said, he says, if I don't get Sita, if I don't see Sita, I will destroy this entire world. With living, unliving, everything I'm going to destroy. And Lakshman at that time holds him together and says, no, you relax. Let us think through how we can find Sita. And this happens multiple times. Multiple times he breaks down till he sees Sita. Yeah. And even after then, when they are coming back, he gets Sita to sit on his lap and there is a Pushpa Priya and he shows her around that where all they were when she was in Ravan's captivity. It's just beautiful. Like I don't know how this man can be called anything but a romantic lover. He is romantic and he's a deep lover.
So beautifully explained. And I must tell everyone that definitely get hold of this book and you must read it. And such beautiful stories, and you get so much entwined in the love of Ram and Sita and so many other stories. Before I move on to my interactive round, I have one question, the first question of the quiz right now. So fastest finger first. What is the city that Sita ji hails from? Yeah. So I look forward to the answer. And the winner, Emmy, your attempt in the book definitely has been on the details of how and why. You've mentioned that in the epilogue as well, that why certain people act in a certain way or make certain decisions. So with this, I invite just a minute.
So we have an answer.
Yeah. Okay. Chetna, you're the winner, I think. Yes. Okay. I invite Chetna for her question, please. Chetna, please switch on your video. Yes. Hi, Chetna.
Hello, Amy. मैं आपको बहुत देर से सुन रही हूँ. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि एटलीस्ट समवन इज देयर जहाँ से हम अपनी कुछ पूछ सकते हैं, कुछ हम अपने जो हमारे मैथोलॉजिकल है या जो भी है उनको हम जान सकते हैं ढंग से. कमिंग स्ट्रेट टू माय पॉइंट इज, श्री राम के सैक्रिफाइस को तो सब समझते हैं, बट व्हाट अबाउट लक्ष्मण एंड उर्मिला का कहीं जिक्र नहीं है कि उन्होंने इतना बड़ा, एटलीस्ट राम और सीता इकट्ठे थे, दे वर टुगेदर, they had a love story. But what about लक्ष्मण एंड उर्मिला? उन्होंने तो उनका कुछ था ही नहीं, कसूर भी नहीं था. कैकेयी को प्रॉब्लम थी राम से कि उनको राजा नहीं बनाना और भरत को बनाना है. बट व्हाट अबाउट लक्ष्मण? नंबर वन माय दिस क्वेश्चन. एंड नंबर टू क्वेश्चन है कि अगर राम इतने ही मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम थे तो उन्होंने सीता का त्याग क्यों किया?
ठीक.
उनको ये एहसास क्यों नहीं हुआ कि जब इतना प्यार है सिर्फ लोगों के कहने में आके?
ठीक है.
What is inner conscious? उस inner conscious ने उनको रोका क्यों नहीं कि एक प्रेग्नेंट लेडी को उन्होंने छोड़ दिया?
ठीक है, नहीं पक्का. गुड क्वेश्चन. तो पहली बात, लक्ष्मण को किसी ने जबरदस्ती नहीं करी है जाने की. लक्ष्मण का राम के प्रति इतना प्रेम है that for him nothing else mattered. और उर्मिला, एक्चुअली वाल्मीकि रामायण में उर्मिला के बारे में हमें कुछ खास पता ही नहीं है कि उनको जाना था, नहीं जाना था, कंपल्सरीली नहीं गए, क्या करा, कहाँ पर रही, वो हम कुछ नहीं जानते. So really whatever we speak about it will only be somebody's imagination. ठीक है.
Exactly. उर्मिला का तो because they were also newlywed, they had their dreams, तो उसके बारे में सोचा ही नहीं.
नहीं, उनके सबके विवाह के कुछ टाइम बाद ही हुआ. ऐसा नहीं है कि शादी करके तुरंत चले गए. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. They lived in the palace for a few years. ठीक है, पहली बात वो. दूसरी बात, if Sita can insist, right? One is to say कि उर्मिला के साथ अन्याय हुआ. The other is to say if Sita can insist, she could have insisted also, right? Again, as I said, it's my word versus your word. We don't know anything. हम जानते नहीं है क्या हुआ. क्योंकि टेक्स्ट में एक्चुअली उर्मिला जी के बारे में कुछ भी नहीं है. The focus is only on this story.
एग्जैक्टली राम एंड सीता के बारे में.
14 ना, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि उसके बाद वो लोग शादी करते, उसके बाद तो उनका विवाह, उसके बाद तो बच्चे सब होते हैं सारे भाइयों को, है ना. तो उनको भी ऐसा नहीं है, they have a life after that, after 14 years.
एग्रीड, बट 14 इयर्स तो उनकी लाइफ के, जो कि राम कैकेयी को प्रॉब्लम थी राम से, बट क्वेश्चन वहीं का वहीं रह जाता है कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ.
अच्छा चेतना जी, लाइफ में ना, and this I come with the second one as well, there are times where you cannot get an ideal situation. ठीक है, बात ये भी होती कि he would have stayed with उर्मिला, पर उनका मन राम में ही होता, and he would have died of guilt कि मैंने मेरे भाई
उर्मिला को साथ भी तो लेके जा सकते थे.
मैं वही कह रही हूँ ना, वो किसका डिसीजन होना चाहिए था. राम लक्ष्मण सीता के केस में सीता जी का डिसीजन था, वो आउट एंड आउट, है ना. तो क्या एक अर्थ हम ये अज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि लक्ष्मण जी ने उर्मिला को बोला होगा नहीं नहीं तुमको नहीं आना, जाओ चुपचाप होके बैठ जाओ उधर, है ना. हम ये अज्यूम करते हैं ये टू. मे बी उर्मिला herself did not want to go. How do we know, right? The relation of Ram is that is why so strong. In fact, ये बार बार आता है कि आगे अगस्त्य ऋषि जो है वो राम को कहते हैं कि तुम सीता का हमेशा ध्यान रखना, बिकॉज इस तरीके से कोई ऐसे जंगल में भी अपने पति के पीछे चल कर आ जाए, ऐसी स्त्रियां बहुत कम होती. तो देयर इज अ चांस दैट एक्चुअली अदर्स माइट हैव सेड नहीं यार ठीक है आप जाओ, वैसे भी आपको काम करना है, यू हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ राम. इवन दैट इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी. व्हाई डू वी अज्यूम कि, और
इवन एक पॉसिबिलिटी ये भी तो हो सकती है कि लक्ष्मण ने बोला हो कि तुम मेरे माँ बाप की सेवा करो.
मैं वही कह रही हूँ, बात तो राम ने भी कही थी, राम ने भी एग्जैक्टली वही बात कही थी, फिर भी सीता ने इंसिस्ट किया और कहा नहीं मैं आऊंगी, है ना. मैं वही कह रही हूँ, दिस इज योर वर्ड वर्सेस माय वर्ड हियर, बिकॉज वी डोंट नो किसने क्या कहा था. हम एज स्त्री अज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि नहीं हमारे साथ ही अन्याय हुआ है. मे बी उर्मिला का नहीं जाने का मन था. व्हाई कांट दैट बी अ सिचुएशन? शी सेड नहीं यार तुम जाओ, एंड नॉट इन अ बैड वे, राइट. शी कुड हैव सेड समझदारी से कि सीता भी जा रही है, राम को आपकी आवश्यकता है, आप जाओ, मैं रहती हूँ यहाँ पर. That could have been her call as well. Why does it have to be that Lakshman ने कहा होगा? She could have had that कर्तव्य निष्ठा where she says नहीं मैं ध्यान रखूंगी, right? Why does the woman have to be weak all the time in our imagination, even of a woman about whom we don't know anything? Why do we start off with that? Is my question. And is there anything in the book that leads to the conclusion? No. All the ladies in the book are strong characters. Why do we assume कि उर्मिला के साथ अन्याय ही हुआ है?
No, I'm not talking about अन्याय. I'm saying कि उनके sacrifice को इतना कम क्यों लिया गया?
नहीं,
उनको भी हाईलाइट किया जाता था उनके sacrifice को.
चेता जी पुस्तक और सब
हाईलाइट ही नहीं किया.
ये तो फिर हर एक कैरेक्टर का कह सकते हैं कि कौशल्या माँ का क्यों नहीं दिखा रहे, है ना, सुमित्रा माँ को क्यों नहीं दिखा रहे, वो भी तो इतना, उनका भी तो सैक्रिफाइस है इतना, है ना. वो तो सबकी बात आ गई थी. As an author, Rishi Valmiki has to draw some boundary somewhere ना, इनकी बात करें. अच्छा उनका ही क्यों, तो फिर ये जो इनकी मांडवी है भरत की वाइफ, भरत भी तो वहां बाहर आश्रम में जाके रह रहे हैं, तो मांडवी के बारे में क्यों नहीं, शत्रुघ्न के बारे में भी कुछ ज्यादा नहीं है, शत्रुघ्न के बारे में क्यों नहीं. सो दिस इज अ नेवर एंडिंग क्वेश्चन, है ना. वो भी तो बेचारे अकेले रह गए थे. अरे सो दैट्स द थिंग, व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज
agreed
that's the one thing, right? Now your question is on Ram. तो जैसे पहले मैंने कहा कि ये जो मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम की बात है, that itself I don't think is the right way to look at it. राम का भी लाइफ में he had his priorities defined. Was he a good husband? He was definitely a good husband. We've seen it throughout, right? Now he's faced with a situation where he has to make a choice. He is not any man, nor is Sita any other woman. They are both Raja and Rani. Also, as I said, आज के ज़माने में भी, what do we expect our leaders to do if they have to make a choice between their country and their people? What would you expect to do?
I have an opinion in this regard, Amy. If Neeta permits, can I talk?
Yeah, just very short.
Actually, I had a word with जगत गुरु राम भद्राचार्य जी, जो बहुत इस फील्ड में बड़े लर्नेड है, उनसे मेरा इस बारे में बात हुई थी। तो ही सेड, वन ऑन वन मेरी उनसे बात हुई, तो ही सेड कि ये उत्तरकांड एक्चुअल रामायण का पार्ट ही नहीं है, ये सिर्फ हिंदुइज्म को नुकसान करने के लिए ये ऐड किया गया, राम को बदनाम करने के लिए। डू यू एग्री विद?
हाँ, सो इस विषय में दो मंतव्य है, ठीक है, और दोनों स्कूल्स ऑफ थॉट उतने ही स्ट्रॉन्ग है। एक साइड जो राम भद्राचार्य गुरुजी कहते हैं, काफी लोग ये मानते हैं कि उत्तरकांड नहीं है। दूसरी साइड ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो कहते हैं नहीं उत्तरकांड है और उसका कारण है, ठीक है। इसमें मेरा व्यू, आई डोंट हैव अ स्टैंड, बिकॉज मेरा उतना अध्ययन इसमें डीप में नहीं है कि मैं लिंग्विस्टिकली देख पाऊं कि क्या क्या पहले है क्या बाद है। आई विल टेल यू मैंने उत्तरकांड क्यों लिया, क्योंकि उत्तरकांड में इस एपिसोड के अलावा भी बहुत कुछ है जिसके बारे में मुझे बात करनी थी। बहुत छोटी छोटी कथाएं हैं which actually give a lot of flavor to Ramayana. Now, it would have been intellectually dishonest on my part to take those stories and say ये part ही केवल नहीं है। Either I take पूर्ण उत्तरकांड और I keep out पूर्ण उत्तरकांड, है ना, पूरे का पूरा ये करना था। तो मैंने इसको इस तरीके से देखा है, एंड नीता जी we will also say कि ये तो एपिसोड जो है जिसके बारे में जनरली ये बात होती है कि कदाचित वो रामायण में नहीं थे, सीता जी को त्यागने वाला एपिसोड और शंभू वध की जो बात आती है, मैं ये कह रही हूँ कि बिकॉज आई हैव टेकन उत्तरकांड, आई विल अज्यूम दे आर देयर, एंड दैट इज अ थॉट व्हिच अदर स्कूल बिलीव्स की ये बात है, ठीक है। परंतु मैं इसको ऐसे देखती हूँ कि हर सिचुएशन को हमें जजमेंटल होके नहीं देखना चाहिए कि ये सही गलत, सही किया बुरा किया, नहीं, क्योंकि हमारे जीवन में भी ऐसे कई प्रसंग आते हैं when we have to make a choice, और दोनों ही options are not good। खजूर पे चढ़ा, वो खजूर से उतरा, और वो इसमें लटका, जो हम कहते हैं ना, कि ऐसी सिचुएशन है। इस परिस्थिति में आप क्या करो, क्या भाग सकते हो? नहीं, आप नहीं भाग सकते। अच्छा, जो भी डिसीजन आप लो, जो भी डिसीजन can be turned around and seen in another way, right? Like for example, हम इसी की बात करते हैं, राम जी ने अगर सीता जी को नहीं त्यागा होता, पहली बात तो जो मैं कह रही थी कि अच्छा, मैं इसमें मेरा जजमेंट नहीं दे रही, मैं केवल अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव्स देना चाहती हूँ जिससे हम सोच पाए। इट इज अबाउट आवर थिंकिंग। राम सीता का तो कुछ ना, उनका तो जो जीवन था जी लिया, व्हाट इज इट दैट वी कैन गेट फ्रॉम इट, राइट? अगर राम जी ने सीता जी को उस समय ना छोड़ा होता, और पहली बात तो हमको जो लगता है ना कि धोबी ने कहा छोड़ दिया, नहीं, ऐसी बात नहीं है, बात ऐसी नहीं है। द सिचुएशन इज दिस, जो उत्तरकांड में भी आती है, सिचुएशन इज कि बहुत ज्यादा लोकापवाद हो गया है, और इतना ज्यादा हो गया है कि सब लोग कह रहे हैं कि हाँ, राम जी ने तो सीता जी को वापस ले लिया, पता नहीं क्या कैरेक्टर्स है, क्या वहां हुआ होगा, फिर भी ले लिया, अब तो हम भी हमारे स्पाउसेस को कुछ कह नहीं सकते, ठीक है, क्योंकि सब लोग, वो तो जो राजा जैसा होगा प्रजा वैसा ही करेगी। तो अब तो बहुत ही ज्यादा ये चल रहा है कि कोई कुछ भी कर रहा है, कुछ रूल जैसा रह ही नहीं गया, लोग ऐसी बातें कर रहे हैं। अब जब राजा पर शंका होने लगी, तो जो मैं कह रही थी कि राजा का देवता माना जाता है, उनका वाक्य सत्य माना जाता है, हाउ कैन सच अ राजा हैव एनी क्रेडिबिलिटी विद हिज जनता, इज द सिचुएशन, राइट? विश्वामित्र ने क्या कहा था, एक राजा के लिए केवल एक चीज है, प्रजा रक्षण। अगर राजा शंका में आ गया तो वो प्रजा रक्षण कैसे करेगा? विद्रोह हो सकता है। सो व्हाट डज ही डू? ईदर ही सेज आई लीव राज्य, which is not possible। ये हमको जो आज लगता है वो अलग चीज है, because he is a राजा, उसका कर्तव्य ही है, there is no running away from being a राजा there, ठीक है। Now in that situation what do you do? अगर उन्होंने दूसरा ये लिया होता ना, और कहते कि अच्छा नहीं, सीता को तो या तो मैं रखूंगा या तो मैं उनके साथ चला जाऊंगा, हम ही लोग कहते कि जैसा बाप था ना, एक स्त्री के वश में आ गया, वैसे देखा पुत्र भी वैसे निकला। वेरी हाईली प्रोबेबल ऐसी बात होती, क्योंकि दशरथ का तो ऐसा हुआ है, एक स्त्री के कहने में आकर गलत डिसीजन ले लिया है। He could have put his foot down, he could have said नहीं, भले मैं तुमको लगे कि मेरी बात असत्य है, परंतु जो सही है वो मैं करूंगा। He didn't do that। यही बात, यही लांछन जो है वो राम पर भी लग सकता था, हम केवल एक दृष्टि से देखते हैं। इसलिए जो लास्ट पार्ट है मैं उसमें वही कहती हूँ कि rather than being judgmental कि सही या गलत, let's ask questions. What were the alternatives? What is the role different people who took this decision played? Had they taken another call, what could have been the repercussions? Right? Let's ask all this question. इसके बाद भी क्या कोई ये कह सकता है कि सीता जी के साथ अन्याय नहीं हुआ? नहीं. Of course हुआ. Of course सीता जी के साथ अन्याय हुआ. There is no denying that fact. But क्या इसका अर्थ राम जी was necessarily wrong? We don't know. But that is what Dharma Sankat is all about. You are faced with situations in life where there is no running away. This is real life. And in spite of that, can you take a decision as objectively as possible, which creates the least harm, which probably means harm to your own personal life? He was willing to do that. वो समय एक पत्नी वाला नहीं था. बहुपत्नियां सबकी होती थी. Ram stuck to one. Always. That was his love for Sita. But he still had to do what he had to do as a Raja. So while a lot of people say कि उत्तरकांड का ये भाग नहीं है, to a large extent, I would go with that camp because बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी हैं जिस तरीके से लिखा भी गया है, which would put us saying that possibly
उसकी जो भाषा की शैली है वो चेंज है. जो पूरी रामायण है उसकी शैली अलग है. उत्तरकांड की जो शैली है वो डिफरेंट है.
करेक्ट.
वो मैच नहीं करती.
पर सीता जी अगर हम उस हिस्से जाए ना तो हम ये भी नहीं कह सकते कि लव कुश इनके बच्चे हैं. That part also we'll have to discard. अगर हम still, because लव कुश इनके बच्चे हैं, वो पार्ट भी उत्तरकांड में ही आती है. इसीलिए I said that I had to be intellectually honest to my work. तो अगर मैं एक बात लेती हूँ और दूसरे का कहूँ this is not convenient for me to explain, इसलिए मैं ना लूँ, ये मैं नहीं कर सकती. इसलिए मैंने कहा I will take it, but again I actually think there is a lesson in this episode rather than dismissing it fully. And there is definitely a lesson which is important for us to know rather than dismissing it. So this is my perspective on the situation.
Very well explained, and thank you for a wonderful question.
Multiple
questions, Chetna. Yes, thank you so much. We have Ritu now. She's an educator, and she'd like to ask you a question. Yes, Ritu.
Good evening, Emmy. So I'm a vice principal in a school, and it's a government school where the girls don't get too many opportunities later in life. So we talk about women empowerment all the time to these girls. How would you relate Ramayana to women empowerment in today's time?
Question in detail.
Yes.
About this, right? Women empowerment. What is women empowerment? Is the question we need to ask, right?
Yeah.
आज की क्या अच्छा let's see कि आज क्या वहां तब की ladies जाके ऑफिस में काम करती थी? ठीक है? There was a reason. Everything was labor intensive. ठीक है? पर उसका अर्थ were they not empowered? What is empowerment? Empowerment is a woman being able to take her decisions, take her own calls, given whatever is the available opportunities and role definitions of those times. Right? We have to see it in that context. Also, if there were restrictions for women, there were restrictions for men as well. At that time, what people did, बड़े भाई का कुछ कर्तव्य होता था, छोटे भाई का कुछ कर्तव्य होता था, बीवी का कुछ कर्तव्य होता था. Everybody lived within those kartavyas. But within that, did they have the right to speak? We just discussed all the three characters in Mahabharata. They did. Did they take their own calls? They did. Right? So, is that not empowerment enough? Is going to office and working only empowerment? But
no, I agree to what you are saying.
In today's situation, of course, working and all that is important because the society has changed, our roles have changed, technology has changed. There are opportunities. So what is empowerment in today's context? Again, a girl being able to take her decisions, to be able to take her call. However, I have a major issue with the way empowerment is looked today. We only talk about rights. Rights cannot come in
without duties.
This is कर्तव्य, right? So सबसे पहले तो कर्तव्य बोध होना चाहिए. कर्तव्य बोध हो फिर rights की बात आती है. ठीक है? तो ये दोनों ही होना चाहिए. And I am actually very passionate about girl education, girl empowerment and all of that, without forgetting that even they need to know what their kartavya as a woman, as a citizen as a citizen of India, as a global citizens are. That cannot be forgotten.
No, Emmy, what I'm trying to relate to is how can we relate Ramayana with women empowerment so that the girls of the present generation can relate with our mythology, that even at that time the empowerment was there. That is what I'm trying to ask.
All the stories that we just discussed, right, have to be told to them, right? That Sita, she made herself heard. Acha, there are other aspects also which I have not spoken of, and I possibly should speak of it. हम लोग अग्नि परीक्षा की बात करते हैं, है ना? And lot of people have issues with अग्नि परीक्षा. Of course, that's not something should happen. I totally agree. सबके साथ ये होना नहीं चाहिए. It's a very sad situation to be, right? And Sita ji went through it. That is a trauma. I don't wish it on anybody. But why did Ramji do that? एक तो he did not tell her to do Agni Pariksha. It was her call. Why was it her call? Because he provoked her. Definitely, Ramji provoked her. इतना दुख सह के, इतना लंबा पुल बांध के, इतना लंबा वॉर करके जिस स्त्री के लिए वो गए हैं, इतने सारे जो वानर सेना है उनका मृत्यु हुई वहां पर, at this cost, finally, just so that he gets the love of his life back. And there he is saying that तुमको जो करना है करो, you have full freedom, तुमको जहां जाना है जाओ, because I don't know तुम मतलब I can't trust your character. ऐसी बात करते हैं. Sita is like, क्या हो गया ये? I have nobody's thought has crossed my mind. And तब तक राम के लिए nobody but Sita, the viyog he goes through, the pain he goes through, हम द्रवित हो जाते हैं वो देखकर. Okay, anyways, ये पूरा होता है, and Sita is like, if you can't trust me, like आपको अगर मुझ पे विश्वास नहीं तो आपने मुझे जाना क्या? आपको लगता है कि मैं ऐसा कुछ कर दूंगी, किसी और पुरुष के बारे में सोचूंगी, तो you not known me, so I will give this. अग्नि साक्षी है कि मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, and the whole अग्नि परीक्षा thing happens. And Ram says, मुझे तो मालूम है रावण की औकात नहीं है कि वो तुम्हारे पास भी आ सके. That is your power and that is your love and that is your सतीत्व. मुझे उस पर इतनी भी शंका नहीं थी, परंतु लोगों को इस पर शंका होती, इसलिए लोगों के मन की शंका का निवारण करना इंपॉर्टेंट था, क्योंकि तुम्हारे पर कभी लांछन ना लगे, ये उन्होंने कहा. Now let's see what Sita ji had done before this. ठीक है, हनुमान जी लंका पहुंच गए. ठीक है, जब वो हमने देखा है सुंदरकांड में, हनुमान जी लंका पहुंचते हैं और सीता जी को ढूंढ लेते हैं. वो सीता जी को कहते हैं, आप चलो मेरे साथ, आई एम वेरी केपेबल ऑफ टेकिंग यू बैक, आप यहाँ क्यों रह रहे हो? सीता से नहीं, अगर मैं आपके साथ आ गई तो राम पर लांछन लगेगा कि अपने स्त्री को वो बचा ना सके, इसलिए नहीं, मैं आऊंगी तो राम के साथ. राम को कहो यहाँ आए और मुझे लेकर जाए. और उनको लेने के लिए वो पूरा पुल बांधना पड़ा, ये करा वो करा, सब कुछ, राइट? सो दैट वाज द कॉस्ट एट विच इट हैपेंड. व्हाई? बिकॉज सीता सेड, ऐसा मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकती कि राम के मन के सर पर लांछन आए कि वो अपनी स्त्री का रक्षण ना कर सके, ये मैं नहीं होने दूंगी. एंड शी मेक्स द एंटायर वॉर हैपन. आसान नहीं था, सुलभ नहीं था वो, बट शी डिड इट. जो उन्होंने राम के बारे में सोचा, राम ने उनके बारे में सोचा, हम ये एस्पेक्ट देखते ही नहीं है. दिस इज द लव दे हैव फॉर ईच अदर. वो लोग जो एक्शंस भी लेते हैं, उनका अगर वो आ जाती है हनुमान जी के साथ, तो और 2 महीने का उनका जो मेंटल ट्रॉमा था अशोक वाटिका में, वो कम होती. पर शी सेड नहीं, आई विल स्टे विद दैट ट्रॉमा, और जो राम को करना है करने दो, बट रेपुटेशन उनका कभी खराब ना हो. एंड राम इज लाइक, एट दैट पॉइंट मैं अपने सर पे भारी पत्थर रखकर आई विल डू व्हाट आई हैव टू डू, दो आई नो 100% इसने कुछ नहीं, शी इज प्योर, फिर भी मैं करूंगा. क्यों? क्योंकि उसके सर पर लांछन ना है, राइट? एंड इन अ वे जो हम त्याग की बात करते हैं, by staying single, by not marrying again, Ram proved that he did not mistrust Sita at all. He proved that. Otherwise वो कहते हैं हाँ ठीक है दूसरी पत्नी आ जाए, नहीं. He showed that मुझे जो करना पड़ा वो मुझे मेरे राजधर्म के अनुसार करना पड़ा, परंतु सीता पर कोई दोष नहीं है, ये मैं जानता हूं. ठीक है. Of course, in the end, talk about empowerment. सीता जी को फिर राम जी ने जब वापस एवरीथिंग हैपेंस और लवकुश जब सबको पता चल जाता है इनके बेटे हैं, एंड राम जी कहते हैं कि एक बार तुम एक बार वापस एक बार शपथ ले लो, सबके सामने शपथ ले लो और मेरे पास तुम आ जाओ. और तब सीता कहती है, दिस इज व्हाट एम्पावरमेंट इज. शी इज लाइक नहीं, नाउ इज इनफ. यू नो, आप, शी डजंट से इट बट मैं भाव की बात कर रही हूँ, ठीक है. शी नोस कि आप जानते हैं कि मैं दोषी नहीं हूँ. वाल्मीकि जी ने आपसे कहा कि मैं दोषी नहीं हूँ, और अब मैं कोई प्रतिज्ञा नहीं लूंगी. आई हैव बीन अ वाइफ टू यू, आई डिड नॉट कंप्लेन जब आपने मुझे छोड़ दिया, क्योंकि मैं जानती हूँ कि मैं भी केवल एक वाइफ नहीं हूँ, मैं भी एक रानी हूँ. मेरी भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है टू एंश्योर कि राजधर्म से आप विचलित ना हो, ठीक है. ऑल दैट आई, बट नॉट एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ माई सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट एनी मोर. इससे ज्यादा नहीं, इससे ज्यादा नहीं. अब मैं शपथ तो दूंगी परंतु वापस नहीं आऊंगी. In spite of all my love, because somewhere I need to draw a line कि मैं एक स्त्री हूं, और इससे ज्यादा सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट, अब सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट की बात है. And she goes, right? Again, her call. This is with doing all the duties that she had to. वो कभी त्यागा नहीं. And still taking the decision she had to take. It is not an easy life. जब हम ऐसे जीना चाहे तो आसान नहीं है. बहुत ज्यादा मेंटल कंट्रोल लगता है, बहुत ज्यादा इमोशनल कंट्रोल लगता है. And that is the beauty of Sita.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lovely. I mean, just love your enthusiasm and motivation to really explain such beautiful and small stories to all of us. I'll take two last questions because we've extended our time already. We have Asha Daima. She's an educator again, and she would like to ask you a question. I think she'll not be able to switch on her video. Asha?
Yeah, good morning, Neeta. Hello, Amy. 1 hour long conversation, narrative, so engaging, enchanting it is. And I feel that you have brought Rama and Sita closer to our life. They are looking like people like us, struggles and challenges. Okay. My question is, Amy, I'm a history teacher as well. And I deal with 16-year-old children who, for the first time, they take up history books. And with science, maths background, they are loaded up with questions. They question everything. They question Mahabharata, they question Ramayana and all. For Mahabharata, there are archaeological evidences, excavations have happened, and like Kurukshetra is there and remains, body bones and all we find. But Ramayana, besides this Ram Setu, one thing, and geographical places like this Mithila or Lanka, and perhaps the astronomical thing. I failed to explain what Vanar Sena is. What was it actually, Vanar Sena? These children with the science, region, and logic, they live by that. And they're not able to digest about Vanar Sena. Please highlight about that.
Yes, I surely will. So, सबसे पहले तो ना इतिहास, how it is written इतिहास, let's understand that. Yeah, इतिहास is पूर्वगुप्तम कथायुक्तम. This is what we say. Something that happened in the past and told in a katha format, told in an allegorical form. Now we are talking about an era where writing had not yet begun. So it was all transmission through mouth, oral transmission, right? Oral transmission के लिए आपको एक तो काव्य लिखना पड़ता है और लोगों को समझ आए आसानी से उस तरीके से लिखना पड़ता है, ठीक है? तो there are some allegorical elements for sure. No two ways about it, ठीक है? अच्छा, now on the historicity itself, क्या archaeological evidences है? Clearly नहीं. बट क्या जियोलॉजिकल एविडेंसेस लोगों को मिल रहे हैं कि अच्छा क्या हो रहा था, यू नो, लंका को वगैरह वगैरह, ऐसा कुछ वो हाइड्रोलॉजी और वगैरह वो सब करते रहते हैं. एक बात. दूसरी बात, जो बाकी सब तो आपने कहा कि जगह तो है, ज्योग्राफिकली तो अभी भी है, ठीक है. जो एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल जी कुछ कर रहे हैं, डेटिंग वगैरह, वो तो चल रहा है. तो दैट इज स्टिल गोइंग ऑन. देयर इज अनदर एस्पेक्ट. इफ इट वाज जस्ट स्टोरी, तो रामायण में भी सीता और राम दोनों के 30 जनरेशंस हैव बीन मैप्ड. Why would anybody do that for a story? Right? Clearly there was a reason for documenting. नहीं तो क्यों ये कोई करता? तो documentation कब होता? When there is actually something would have happened, which is what the definition of इतिहास is, पूर्वगुप्त. Now वानर सेना का प्रश्न आपने पूछा. वानर सेना का जो डेफिनेशन है ना, it says वानरः वनचारिणः. जो वन में रहते हैं वानर, उनको ऐसे कहा गया. ठीक है. अब जो कुछ डिस्क्रिप्शन वगैरह, तो आज भी आप अमेज़न के कुछ ट्राइब्स, अफ्रीका के ट्राइब्स, साउथ एशिया में कुछ ट्राइब्स, they have very peculiar features. They have a very peculiar job. काफी सारे ऐसे, they dress in very peculiar ways. कोई ऐसे हॉर्न्स वाला.
Yes, hi, Amy. You are, I think, frozen. So I'm sure you'll come back. Would you like to join back? Yes, you're fine. You're back.
कहाँ पे आपने मुझे
There were horn sort of adornments they used to wear.
हाँ, तो ये जो आज भी आप, you just go look up some of these Adivasis. They have a very peculiar dressing style. ठीक है. तो Bhumar Vanars, they were Vanaraha Vanacharina. Vanar is another word for monkeys as well, no doubt, but that is also because monkeys are also in forest in a certain way. They look in a certain way, right? A lot of tribes, as I said, you just go look at their facial features. They do look, they have very peculiar features, and the dressing is like that. So how do I understand it? In my mind, they were definitely Vanvasis. Yeah, they were definitely Vanvasis. There are other reasons for that. When Hanumanji comes first time to meet Shri Ram, एक दूसरे को पहचान नहीं रहे वो, पर उनकी जो वाणी है, उससे श्री राम जी says, it cannot be anybody who has not learned the Veda. वाणी सच, उसका मतलब वो संस्कृत या जो भाषा था वो बोल रहे थे, उनका डिक्शन इतना अच्छा था, उन्होंने पढ़ा है, उनका ट्रेनिंग हुआ है, वो कैसे हो सकता है? तो also the siddhis he shows, right, like expanding the body and all that, वो सारे नहीं कर पा रहे, हनुमान कर पा रहे. योग में अष्ट सिद्धि की बात आती है. When you reach a certain level in yoga, you achieve certain siddhis. Some people are born with it. It's not for everybody. जो योग में है, योगी है, सिद्ध योगी है, उनके लिए हनुमान जी वैसे हैं. And that is why he had these ashta siddhis. Devi is very much a characteristic of a very evolved person who lived in the forest. So for me, Vanars are Vanvasi. This is how I understand it. And the description that we get also, right? What is, हमको लगता है अरे पूछ की बात कर रहे हैं, क्या पूछ की बात हो रही है? हाँ हो रही है, बट मैं इसलिए कह रही हूँ, आज भी अगर कितने ट्राइब्स आप देखो, they have very peculiar dressing senses. Also, why they want to gel in the jungle, right? ये भी कारण हो सकता है that वो they want to gel in the jungle कि और प्राणियों के साथ they come across as one of those, right? ऐसा भी हो सकता है. So वानरः वनचारिणः, ये शब्द, ये डेफिनेशन तो वाल्मीकि रामायण नहीं आती.
Right. Ami, thanks a lot for validating my assumption. I too had been talking on the same lines to my students. Today, I am confident that yes, I can give this theory to my students here on. Thanks a lot, Ami. I'm going to definitely read your book. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll take one last question, Amy. I know we've taken so much of your time, but there have been so many requests and there are so many questions in the chat by Prayas, Jain, Khwaish, Harshita, Swarit. Please put it down on our YouTube channel. Tomorrow, the recording will be there on the YouTube channel. So I'm sure Amy will like to reply there. We have Mr. Vijay Shankar. He'll be asking the last question. Yes, Vijayji, a brief one, please. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Namaste. Namaste, Vijayji.
Namaste. Ma'am, my question is that why the statesman in Ram has not got much attention? Like his annexing, his not annexing Lanka and installing Vibhishan as king.
Correct. Why has it not gone? Because we look at only, we are very busy just judging Ram and rather than understanding Ram. I have actually focused on his statesmanship as well. There is a chapter which says Ramu Vigraha Vahan Dharma, and I have actually looked at all his actions, even in all the chapters. I would say you read that book. Because why? It is there. Valmiki Ramayana mein to sab hai. है ना, वाल्मीकि जी ने ये नहीं किया है, उन्होंने तो सब लाया है. We have just chosen aspects which we, masala that we like. But is Ram considered a statesman? Definitely. इसीलिए तो राम को, like not just a statesman, he's a greatest warrior one has seen. इसलिए गीता में श्री कृष्ण says, Ramah Shastra Bhutanaham. जो शस्त्र उठाए हैं उसमें मैं राम हूँ. इतने महान वो वॉरियर भी थे उस बारे में बात, और वाल्मीकि रामायण में उसका भी डिटेल में एक्सप्लेनेशन. So yeah, these are aspects which we must read, and that has been a little bit of my prayas to bring out these aspects which are less spoken of. That is the idea, because only then we will understand and why is Ram.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm looking forward to read the book.
Last question for the quiz, which I forgot to mention earlier. So,
just one sec. There is a question here which I think a lot of them have. So maybe I'll just quickly answer that. So,
yes, please do that. That'll be nice. Yes.
I want to know what is the best way to read Ramayana as a beginner. Yeah. The best way to read Ramayana is to start reading the entire text. भले धीरे-धीरे आप पढ़ो. ठीक है. Of course, you can read abridged versions वगैरह. वो भी आप पढ़ सकते हो. There are lots of those. There is Rajgopalachary's Ramayana. There is विवेक देवराज जी ने पूरा ट्रांसलेशन किया है, वो आप पढ़ सकते हो. पर मेरा फोकस ये रहता है कि अगर आप अपनी मातृभाषा में पढ़ो rather than English, it's better. Yeah. So if you want to start reading Ramayana seriously, pick up Gita Press. Start reading. That is the best. उसमें संस्कृत श्लोक भी है, उसमें हिंदी भी है. तो धीरे-धीरे the Sanskrit will also start making sense, but at least you will read the Hindi part of it. I think that is better. And the reason I'm saying this is I'm assuming that main story Ramayana to सबको पता ही होता है, more often than not. इसलिए I'm saying go straight to the text. And of course, if nothing else, read Ramayana Unravelled, and hopefully that will inspire you to read the Valmiki Ramayana in its entirety.
There are a couple of more questions. You'll take them later. I'd like to answer now.
I can take them.
Yes, please.
कौन से हैं? Let me go through. जो जल्दी बता.
Maybe I'll ask the last question. Who was the father of Ravan? Please, the fastest finger first. The second book of the evening. We'll go to somebody. Yes, you can go ahead in the meantime.
हाँ, हर्षिता जी का क्वेश्चन है ना. One adaptation of Ramayana, Sita ji was a हाँ. तो ये जो है कि adaptation तो नहीं, but in fact this comes in this does come कि there is there is an incident युद्ध कांड में जब पहली बार राम रावण का फेस ऑफ होता है. फर्स्ट टाइम वो एक दूसरे के सामने आते हैं और उस दिन रावण राम जी से हार जाता है. उस टाइम पे रावण एक्चुअली मेंशंस, ही सेज कि कदाचित सीता जो है वो वेदवती का रूप लेकर आई है टू गेट मी किल्ड. ठीक है. नाउ द स्टोरी ऑफ वेदवती कम्स इन उत्तरकांड, जिसमें वेदवती वाज अ स्त्री हु वाज अ तपस्विनी, जिस पर रावण जबरदस्ती करने का प्रयत्न करता है. एंड वेदवती अग्नि में जंप कर देती है और शी कहती है कि आई विल कम बैक एज अ नेमेसिस, मैं तेरी मृत्यु का कारण बन के आऊंगी. इसलिए rather than Sita actually being Vedvati's reincarnation, Ravan does allude to it कि क्योंकि उसको याद आता है कि मैंने वेदवती के साथ ऐसा किया था, तो उसने कहा था मैं वापस आऊंगी, कदाचित वो सीता के रूप में वापस आई है. बट क्या सीता के बारे में कहा गया है कि वो वेदवती का रूप है? नहीं. ठीक है. सो बेस्ड ऑन वाल्मीकि रामायण, लॉट ऑफ रीटेलिंग्स ऑफ रामायण हैव हैपेंड. हाउएवर आई वुड से अगर हम इतिहास की बात करते हैं तो वी मस्ट गो बैक टू वाल्मीकि रामायण ओनली, क्योंकि जितने भी रीटेलिंग्स हुए हैं वो सभी के सभी इंक्लूडिंग रामचरितमानस, दे ऑल फर्स्ट पे वंदन टू श्री ऋषि वाल्मीकि. ऋषि वाल्मीकि को वंदन करते हैं बिकॉज द ओरिजिनल इज स्टिल द वन व्हिच हैज कम फ्रॉम ऋषि वाल्मीकि. फिर उसके ऊपर लोगों ने अपने भाव से, अपने समझ से, अपने इमेजिनेशन से और कृतियां रची है. बट इतिहास इज वाल्मीकि रामायण.
Fantastic. I think that's about it. There was one very big question, but I think we can take it up later. But I must thank you so much, Emmy, for taking our time. It's been really a wonderful session on the unraveling of Ramayana, and I recommend everyone to please read this book. The winners of today's session are Chetna Kukreja and Harshita. You'll get your books. Please inbox me your addresses. And I mean, very, very refreshing narrative, Emmy, the book. Thank you.
I love talking about it. So you were really kind to let me just ramble away like long answers. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful session in the evening. I'll put the recording of the session tomorrow on the YouTube channel. Please go ahead, people, and watch it and do share your comments. And you can also ask her more questions there. Yes. Thank you, Amy.